got really, really cold.
Good, I was warm.
I'm back out on the Superior hiking trail. It is winter. We are out for a 2-day hike. We are just going a little over 5 miles from Britton Peak up to Oberg Mountain. I have some friends along on this trip. Right there is the questionable Krusty. The slow but steady Mule.
Good morning.
And we have a new friend over here. That's
Mela.
the lovely Pam. Does Pam have a trail name?
No, I don't.
We made it to the top of Britton Peak. It's a pretty steep hike with some ice on the trail. Dropped our backpacks about halfway up. But it's nice to get going and get warmed up a little bit, but it's beautiful up here. Welcome to Britton Mountain.
I haven't seen the sun in like a week.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
All with a boat.
Yeah, I know. But she wouldn't say that yet. So while we're walking on the trail, we have our spikes on. I have my snowshoes on the back of my backpack, but the trail's pretty well packed down so far, so I don't need the snowshoes. But if you get off trail, it's about 2 feet deep snow. So when I set up camera shots, I don't have my snowshoes on, and I'm kind of tracking through the deep snow. So I hope they turn out, because they're a lot of work. Well, we crossed that cross-country ski trail again, and we've come to some virgin trail that there isn't any footprints on. It's beautiful, but it's going to be a lot of work. Pam and Chuck don't have their snowshoes, so I'm breaking trail here, and it's probably a good 2 feet deep here. So far the trail has been pretty smooth. We came to this cross-country ski trail and we crossed it, and now we're in this post hole area, so it's going to be a little bit harder walking. Chuck,
Yes.
what the heck is that you're standing on there?
Same ski trail we left.
So what you're saying is we're about 100 feet down the ski trail from where we entered after walking about a quarter of a mile.
It's the Blair Witch Project.
Came off the trail, nice and well groomed, right to this ski trail. Then on the other side where we were supposed to go was 3 feet of snow. Then that trail that looped right back around back to the ski trail, and now we're kind of lost and we're walking up it because we have to find our actual trail.
Sorry. You know why we got lost? We're following a woman.
So the problem that we have here is we followed a foot trail that was packed down, and the trail is actually here that nobody has walked on yet. So we didn't pay attention to the blazes good enough, and the trail goes right through here.
We did drink a lot last night.
Yeah.
So Pam, I explained the reason why we got off trail is because we were following a woman.
Oh no!
And then who
But I found the trail.
Oh yeah. And by the way, if you have hate mail, send it to rpelton1.com. Chuck, give me an update. What's going on?
Try to find the trail. Vitamin D.
So
Oh, we're like right on it.
I already went off trail. Well, there's a blaze going that direction up there.
Yeah.
We're having a hard time finding our next blaze here. We don't know which direction to go. Chuck has his phone open and is looking at Google Maps. He says it's that way. So Rob and Pam are making their way down the hill here. But it's a lot of work here. So Springdale Creek campsite, according to Chuck, is about 1,000 feet up. That sounds like a long ways right now. But we'll get there. The original plan was to go farther to camp tonight, but there's no harm in stopping early if we need to. It's probably about 2 o'clock right now. It'll get dark here in probably 2 hours. So get enough time to get to camp, gather some firewood, set up our sleeping arrangements. Hopefully there's the creek is running. We'll see what happens. I have plenty of water though.
We made it to Springdale Creek campsite. Chuck is digging out the bench. The fire ring is in there someplace, but it's probably about 3 o'clock or so, and we're moving pretty slow. So we've decided that this is going to be camp for the night. Chuck and Pam are sleeping in a tent. Rob and I are in hammocks, so I am going to go find a good tree. All right, we're at camp. I found my 2 trees. I'm going to pack down the snow all in that area and hang my hammock. All right, we gathered some firewood. We stomped down a bunch of the snow here. Had to find the fire ring. Processing the firewood right now. Chuck's over there making some kindling. Pam is the safety supervisor. Is he doing everything safely?
Yep, looks good.
She's the navigator.
It's about 5 o'clock. I'm warming up.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I am making my second dinner. I'm having some ramen noodles, warming it up. It's about 30 degrees, but it feels a heck of a lot colder out here. Everybody is finishing up their dinners. Chuck and Pam had some brats over the fire. How is it? Now you're having ramen?
Yep, it's good. It's warm.
Krusty, what are you having over there?
I got some of that Mountain Horse Chili Mac, you know.
You're such a dork.
Mountain Horse.
Chuck,
Yes.
say something entertaining.
This is a family channel. I can't.
Wow. Morning. It's about 8:20 in the morning. Not sure exactly how cold it is, but I didn't sleep worth a shit last night. It was cold.
It got really, really cold. I got up about 6. It was 13.
Yeah.
And I'll go check to see what it is now.
Well, it took me about an hour and a half to get my feet warm last night. I didn't wear the right boots. That's for damn sure. And there's Chuck over here. He's a tough guy. Cowboy camped out here, 13 degrees, surrounded by snow. And he's going to tell us how good he slept last night, probably.
That was warm.
Yeah?
I'm not very comfortable, but it was warm.
Hi, good morning.
Hi. It's the lovely Pam.
Yeah,
Somewhere in there. How'd you sleep, Pam?
good. I was warm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
The ground's hard though.
Yeah.
Hammock camping's the way to go.
Like
Chuck, what's the secret to keeping your feet warm at night?
putting your mitts on them. Hello.
I'm surprised you could get your big ass feet inside them.
I know. I can almost get them all the way in there.
So I want to show you my home for last night where I slept. So I slept in the hammock, the War Bonnet XLC gathered end. My underquilt wasn't right. I had to get up and try to fix it in the middle of the night, but I was still a little cool on the bottom. So here is my tarp with the spreader bars, and you can see on top quite a bit of frost. If you go inside, you see my hammock with my underquilt. That's where I peed last night. Got a little foot cloth down there. My socks that I wore yesterday, I couldn't put back on my feet because they're solid as a rock. But if you get a little closer in here, you can see there's quite a bit of condensation on my bug net. So it took me probably about an hour and a half last night to get my toes warm, but then it wasn't too bad. But you know, about the time you get your toes warm, then you got to get out and go pee. So I don't know. It wasn't a very good night's sleep, but I was pretty warm this morning. The problem that you have when you winter camp is I was awake in my hammock for 2 hours before I got out, because the thought of getting out of that nice warm cocoon to this temperature out here isn't very fun, but once you get out, it isn't so bad. So I took my tarp down, and I can give you a better view of the condensation that came off of my mouth and froze on my bug net in my hammock last night. So what I'm trying to do now is to get most of that frost off of my hammock and my underquilt and my top quilt. So when I pack it away and it warms up, it doesn't get everything wet. So when I unpack it, I want everything to be dry. Camp is all packed up. Put in our packs, ready to hike out. So that last 3/4 of a mile coming in, we had to break snow. As Rob says, it was about 3 feet deep. But it was pretty deep. So all our water's frozen this morning. Our feet were frozen this morning. What we're going to do is we're going to backtrack out back to where our first car was, drive around to the next trailhead and backtrack in. That way we aren't going to have to go in this deep snow for a couple miles that nobody's walked on yet. So should be all right. Also looking forward to getting some water and maybe some warm food at the gas station. So let's get to walking. So you may be wondering, how do hardcore backpackers eat in the winter? Well, what's for breakfast this morning in there? Our Pelton one.
Pepperoni roll.
A pepperoni roll.
Donut.
A donut.
Yep.
Kind of heavy packing those in, wasn't it? Pam looks like she's having a big cheeseburger there.
Oh, wow.
Chuck is dropping all the onions from his hot dog on the floor. And this is 5-star accommodations here at the Tofty Holiday. We made it to the Oberg Mountain trailhead from the Holiday, all warmed up, had some hot chocolate, and they're just doing a little bit of warming up in the car there before we hike into the Onion River campsite, which is about a mile up the trail. And then we haven't decided, we're going to do Oberg Mountain today or tomorrow, which isn't that far away. But we're unloading some things that we don't need. And unfortunately, I found out that I put my camera, you know, you have to keep your electronics warm out here or else everything dies. And I put my camera in my coat pocket, and my coat pocket had a couple chocolate kisses in it. So everything melted when I was nice and warm last night, and it kind of messed up my camera. So I'm probably gonna have to bring that in, see if they can fix it and clean it up. So the iPhone for the rest of the trip. But looks like everybody's ready to go. We're gonna take off. Well, I made it to the Onion River campsite. This looks like it's going to be a beautiful winter camping spot, especially for a hammock. Lots of tall pine that are spaced the right distance. Looking forward to a beautiful night.
Yeah, really good. Here, struggle bus.
Set up a camera.
Hold this. Hold this before you hurt yourself.
All right, any chocolate around I can stick it in while we're here?
She's all right.
So we're all set up at camp. The nice thing about this camp that we came into is somebody else has camped here recently. So everything's a little bit more packed down. It seems like there's less snow on the ground. There's obviously some little sticks laying around. We're gonna go find some firewood before it gets dark. Yeah, we're all set up. You can see Rob's hammock over there, mine behind me. Chuck and Pam are actually going to sleep in a tent tonight. And Chuck has the duplex from Z-Packs. And it's a pretty sweet tent. This is the tent that pretty much everyone who thru hikes uses. Made out of Dyneema. It can all be yours for the low price of.
I'm having 7-Up.
Oh, he's changing the
$600.
subject. So, yeah. That tent cost more than my first car. All right.
Ready?
Timber!
Yeah, it's pretty punky. It'll burn fast. Not enough.
It's about 5 o'clock. We got all of our wood processed. All of our sleeping arrangements are set up. Chuck and Pam are starting dinner over here. Rob's playing with his little stick by the fire.
Quit playing with your dinghy.
there is a snow front that's supposed to be coming in that Rob tells me it's going to snow like 12 feet. So we're preparing for, you know, we're putting all our stuff away because in the morning there'll probably be a few inches of snow on the ground. So getting all set. Beautiful night. Not a whole lot of hiking today, but that's all right because we had a good chance to relax. It's a little after 8 in the morning. It's super windy, but freezing, 32 degrees, and rain. Yippee. This is what was protecting me from the wind last night. It was really blowing in on this side, but I kept dry. Glad nothing ripped. We're all packed up. The rain changed back over to snow again, which is welcome to us. We will get less wet from the snow, but it's kind of a winter wonderland out here, huh, Krusty?
Yay!
It's funny when we have our rain flies for our tarps, it seems a lot windier than it really is. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty windy out, but last night laying in that thing, it felt like we're in the middle of a tornado.
This is beautiful, and I'm glad we're out here doing this. It's relatively warm, and we stayed dry and slept all right, so it can be done. And make sure you pee downwind. Unless you're really cold.
All right, we're making that walk back to the car. Wind's picked up a little bit. This was a interesting backpacking trip. A couple things I learned. I'm not gonna be able to get my dead men out of the snow without a shovel. I am selling my War Bonnet XLC Superfly tarp and underquilts and going 100% Ridge Runner. What do you think about that, cult leader? So, hey, if you like this video, go ahead and hit subscribe down there. Check out a couple other videos over here. And even if it is winter, we'll see you out on the trail.